Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. I'm joined every day with Eric Shamalov, who actually is not in his regular location. He's in a clandestine location somewhere, not in Brooklyn, but he's with us today, as well as Thomas Maples behind me, Touchdown T as we call him, and we're back. It's a Wednesday that feels like a Tuesday, and just trying to get used to the short week. But yesterday, for sure, was very, very interesting. Not the greatest day to do a call spread or strangle, um, or as Eric would call it, an iron condor. So it wasn't a great trading day for us in general, but we're back at it today, and we're going to grind back. I thought it was very interesting. I was watching a little TV last night, and I've been talking about this for months since the tariffs were even thought about. And there actually is, I don't know if you know this, Eric, but there's a name for this trade of yesterday. Okay. Do you know what it's called?
Well, I do because you texted
Love it.
it to me last night.
What?
I do because you texted it to me last night.
Okay. Well, it's a
I'll let, I'll let,
food.
I'll let you say it though.
It's a food. It's called the taco trade. That basically that Trump is afraid of implementing the tariffs. So it's like something like Trump something uh, is chicken. They're calling Trump chicken. Every country knows he's chicken, and he threatens the tariffs, but he never put them in. And what's interesting to me about this, which is a little bit bothersome, I think to find out what the tariffs can do and how much sort of pain or power you can have, you got to implement the tariffs at a high level or the highest level that you're going to do it and then come down from there. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing a guy who is back and forth, and is just not not sticking to his guns. And I think it's a very big negative. Obviously the market is in buy mode. um, the market is kind of right back to where it was. I think it got up to 59.90 before selling off about 150 points, and now it's back up in that area, up again this morning. But I think overall that that the that these tariffs are not really going to affect the market, because now the next time he tariffs somebody big, you know what's going to happen. He's going to take it off. So until we see real tariffs go in, et cetera, people are going to be of the mindset that, hey, whatever this guy says is not going to play out. So that was yesterday's trade. I think these countries are learning how to, what I would call, game the system. Meaning, you set up the meeting, you tell him what you're going to do. He delays the tariffs for a month or two or three or whatever he's going to do. And then you kind of slow play it, and then you figure it out later. So right now, the EU has tariffs coming on them in July. But as we get closer to July, things are going to start to move in some direction, and then they're going to just say, hey, we need more time or whatever, or they'll sign some non-comprehensive deal, and this stuff is being pushed out. So my question to you, and I'll throw it to you to get us going this morning, is, does Trump really want tariffs, or is he afraid of them? And I'll throw that to you.
I don't know. Half of that is probably a political question, right? But I think he definitely does want tariffs, and I think we're definitely going to get them. And I think one of the reasons that he wants them is to recalibrate the U.S. economy for the future. He keeps saying to finish the job that Reagan set him to do. And he has his own way of doing it. But I think tariffs serve two purposes for him, in his view. One, the revenue, which is first and foremost. Two, I think it forces the U.S. to recalibrate the way that it does business and forces the U.S. to do business within its own borders a little bit more. So I do think we're going to get tariffs. I think the market was afraid of 145% tariffs. But in terms of where the market is, every single spot where you can put on a short, just from a trading point of view, it either pays you very little or it just flat out doesn't work. And I think last night was another example. Um, After that Japanese bond auction that we were discussing yesterday to look for, that was another spot, right? And it started to work, and then the trade is gone to the long side. Um, about 3-4 weeks ago on this podcast, we put up some charts showing how sentiment got extremely, extremely negative. Everybody is bearish right now. I know you think everybody's bullish, but
Ah, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
everybody's bearish. I'm telling you, I
Okay,
think
who?
being bearish
Wait, six hedge
is
fund
the
managers are
consensus view.
bearish?
What?
Is the public bearish? Come on, dude.
The public is never bearish. They're
Right.
never
So
bearish,
that's
right?
all you got to know.
Yeah,
The
but
public
they're
is
what? I mean,
long
they'll
and
move
never
the
selling.
market a little bit. They're not going to really, but you ask any big money manager 3 weeks ago or a month ago, nobody was, the consensus view, I
Time
think,
out. Dude,
was
listen, I'm not
bear.
even, I'm going to stay mellow today. I promised myself I would, so I'm not going to go crazy right now, but you're out of your mind. Okay. Money managers are bearish, except they're max long. You're right. They're bearish. They're
I
bearish. Let me
don't know if
tell you
they're
what,
max
if you
long.
saw their P&L in April, okay, they were not max bearish. Okay. They
Well,
got
I
max.
said a month
It
ago,
doesn't matter.
everybody
They
was.
didn't sell one thing, Eric. Nobody sold the thing. Nobody sold. The only people that turned it over in there were hedge fund managers for the most.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
the bottom line is, your RIAs or your institutional quote unquote money managers are always long. They're always long. My manager is always long. I love him. He's related to me. I love the guy. He never sells. Okay. And I'm glad
But
I
how
have him.
long is the
And
question?
I'm
Are
glad I
they
have
max
him.
long or are they a little bit less long? That's the
Doesn't make a
you know
difference, but they're long. And the funny thing is, if the market prints lower, they lose. Everyone loses. When the market's down, everyone loses. So how are you coming here and saying sentiment is bearish? Okay, sentiment is
sentiment was
bearish. Wait, you're only
any
you're
indicator you look at.
75% long rather than 90? I mean, come on. The sentiment
That's
may
enough
be
to move the needle.
changing in a mindset, but it's listen, this is very important for people out there to know. It may be changing in the mindset, okay, but not in the positions. And that's the beauty. I used to be a floor trader years ago when there was a trading floor, and I always talk about this. We would get the feeling or the temperature of the marketplace, and it always worked. If everyone was bullish, the market went down. If everyone was bearish, the market went up. These are fake clues. So when you look at a consumer confidence number, which by the way, yesterday was at like record highs, okay? I think it was the highest print we ever had. So how are you
No, it
saying
wasn't the highest print. It was one of the biggest increases month over month.
whatever? So how are you saying people are bearish? I mean, I don't see
Well,
anyone
I
bearish.
said from a month ago,
Okay, a month
100%.
ago they
Everybody,
were
you ask
bearish,
anybody, everybody was
but they weren't
throwing their
bearish.
hands up in the air and afraid. And
But did they do
now it feels
anything?
like they're
Time
not
out.
afraid.
Did they do anything? They didn't do one thing. My friend is long Palantir at 125. It went to 75. He didn't sell a share, and now it's higher. So what do you mean? The
Well,
bottom
you
line
just
is
said the hedge funds were selling off, right?
the hedge funds, but that's not, listen, that is not what basically the market should be looking at. It should be looking at retail positions. There's an insatiable appetite as I've seen since 2022 to buy the market. And I'm sticking with my guns. And I'm happy right now that, we are up here because we're coming back around with an ETF where you'll see what I'm doing live on the stock market. And the bottom line is it's a great level, 6,000 on the S&P. We were at 4,800. I mean, I don't understand. We're in the infancy of what's going to happen with the tariffs, and what this market is telling you is that tariffs are meaningless and they're not going to have any effect. But as you see, these companies keep coming out with numbers and they keep saying tariffs are impactful and it's going to be a problem. So whether we're in agreement with very little, but I think we're in agreement that there'll minimally be tariffs. Okay. What they're going to be, no one knows. And he can change that every day. But I love this taco trade. The bottom line is every time this guy comes out with a tariff, he takes it off literally within a week. Like, I'm not understanding. He literally came out on Wednesday and said the EU is going to feel some pain. We're going to 50%. They're non negotiable. This is non negotiable. I don't want to have talks. And then over the weekend, he calls the lady. She didn't call him, he called her. I mean, it's crazy. Like, China didn't ask for the trade talks. We did. What's going on here? Like, it's the weirdest game of chicken I've ever seen. Everybody knows he's never. Listen, put the tariffs on. Let's see how much revenue we generate. Let's see if we
Well,
make
they're generating 16. They're, Besant always talks up how much, and Lutnick, they talk about how much revenue they're generating. I think it's like 16 billion. They're
but
getting
these
excited
tariffs are
about
on
per
pause.
month.
They're on pause till July. I mean, there may be some on specific goods, but they're on pause. So I don't know whatever they're generating is an odd lot. And what you're seeing no goods come into the country. Trump is saying, like, he goes, "Oh, if you're going to build a factory here, we'll give you concession." Obviously, because it's going to take years to build the factory. So
Actually, if they're doing, like, let's say they're doing 15 billion a month in tariff revenue, you annualize that, that's about 200 billion for the year in revenue.
okay.
That's going to be basically your incremental uptick in cost from refinancing the debt later in the year.
Okay, but then let's roll it into this. Okay, what is it costing our consumers? 200 billion. Okay, then no one else is paying it right now. They're paying it because they want to be, okay, and keep things going. But if it stays implemented, it's going to be passed on to the consumer. So that's a tax of $200 billion, which, to be honest with you, in the scheme of what we got going on, is not even a drop in the bucket. So the
Yeah,
whole thing is
that's
weird. The market
but
is
that's just one side of the equation, right? That's the negative side. There's another side of the equation. I think that's what I've been saying. The market is trying very hard. I know you're not going to like this, but they're trying to find the growth scenario here, and we just don't have enough details. I honestly think
we're
that people, both on both sides, bears and bulls, I don't think anybody actually knows how this is going to pan out. And
Oh, it's gonna pan out horrendously, okay?
right,
I'm
so
not
that's
saying
that's
today.
your view, and
That
now
is
the
my
bulls have
view.
come in and
That is
said it's
my
going to be
view. I'm
amazing.
sticking to it. Your view is whatever the stock market is doing for the moment. Like, and when it goes up, then you get all crazed that, like,
No, in January, I basically said that the market is going to chop around all year long, up and down, and we're probably going to end up plus or
wait.
minus 2 or 3%.
Okay, so I know. Wait, I'm
I don't
with
think
you
we're
right
I don't
at
think
you.
the market is
You're the
going
only
anywhere.
guy that you think that your thesis in January was correct for the market when it dropped 35% NASDAQ. Okay, that's not shopping around. That is a full out crash. Okay, that's more than the 87 crash. So the market crashed. Let's be very specific here.
How
The
much
market
did it
crashed.
drop? How much did it drop?
The NASDAQ dropped 30. plus from the high. Okay, 30 plus from the high, and the S&P dropped over
That sounds
20.
very high. Is
Go
that
ahead,
correct?
Thomas. Yes, it's correct. The
Okay.
Nasdaq was 100%. The S&P was in a bear market for a day, or internally. So that's a 20% drop, and it was up 5 for the year. So it dropped 25%, and Nasdaq dropped over 30. How is that shopping around? That is a crash. We 100. This is what no one realizes. We crashed. Okay, we came back very quickly, like we always do, but we crashed, and the move up from the bottom has been over 30% Nasdaq. Okay, Nasdaq is flat on the year. Okay, and it was down. Boy, how much was Nasdaq down, Thomas?
It was down 26. It rallied 30.
No, it rallied 30 off the low.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, come on, that's not chopping around. This is one of the sickest years we've ever had. And on top of it, I'm telling you, this year has not been written. You can't look like you're looking and spoos are up 10 handles, and yesterday went up 2%, and you're looking and like we're out of the we are so far from out of the woods.
I don't think we're out of the woods. I don't think anybody actually knows how this is going to pan out. I feel like people who are leaning bearish are focusing on one side of the equation. Your perma bulls, you have perma bears, you have perma bulls. The perma bulls are,
Wait,
you
who
know,
are the perma bulls? Every single person in the market? Come on. It, it's you know what's funny? My nickname back in the day for years
yeah.
and years, people from trading don't even know my first name. They don't even know my name is Larry. I swear to God.
So
Every,
tell everybody what did they use? This is what I wanted to ask
this
you. So
my nickname in trading or
yeah,
in life is Benny. Everyone calls me Benny. So
Benny
people
the
would just
Benny the
no, I'm
Benny the
definitely
bull.
not Benny the Bull, but
Ah,
I
stop
used
it!
to
You used to
be.
be a bull.
No, right, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
bullish and bearish. I'm just not bullish right now. I am
Okay.
not bullish.
All right.
But here's the funny thing is people would call my home and ask for Benny, and my wife would answer the phone back when we had phones in the house, and she'd go, "Who do you want to talk to, Larry?" They didn't even know my name. So anyway, that being said,
By
I,
the way, your
I
wife is
guess
a saint.
I just don't listen. What's happened to us, and what's very important for people to understand, is people are micromanaged here to the day. Okay. Everybody is day trading, tick trading. The funniest thing, I'll tell you a funny story. I'm at my club on Monday having lunch, and there's a guy I know, and great guy, but he's very over involved in the market. Retail guy, retired guy, needs the market to go up to live the country club lifestyle. And he had this is the craziest thing. He had his quote board open on Monday. I walk over to the guy. I'm like, dude, the market's not even open today. Oh, I'm just checking it out. I mean, come on. Listen, when I got in the market, retail couldn't even trade. The only retail that could trade were multi-million dollar accounts. You couldn't trade with an account. Nobody could. You had to be a professional trader to trade. Now people are on their phone, they're looking at the market. The market is overexposed here in a big way. Okay. Not say, listen, we can go up, we can go down. And for us, our job at the opportunistic trader is to make money day over day. And that's what we try to do. It's been a little choppy for me. Trading is very funny. So we came into the year, January, February, March, and into April, we crushed it. I mean, crushed it. And now for like the last 2 or 3 weeks, or a little bit more, maybe we're struggling. We don't have a lot of trades on. That's the one positive. It's like we've made probably 70 trades this year. We're stuck on like 2 or 3 losers, but over the year we've been doing well. But you, as a trader and as a money manager, or sort of advising to the public, you only think about your last 2 or 3 trades, and that's what everybody thinks about. So it's a really tough job, and I want people to sort of see through this narrative of what we're doing, minute to minute, day to day, and look at a little bit of a bigger picture. but it's hard when you're not making money. So you gotta always trade smaller. You gotta be able to hang in. And at the end of the day, we're gonna be there making money, as we have for years and years and years. It's a funny market because the market is not, in my mind, following any clues. And usually the market follows clues. So you would think if the S&P was back at 6,000, the euro would be 107, not almost 14. Now it's down to 113.
Right, because you're
You would
saying the
think,
dollar should have gone up because the dollar dropped so much on all this tariff fear. If the
right.
stock
So the
market went up,
tariff fear is not
why
out of the
wouldn't the
market.
dollar go up? Right.
Right. And the dollar is the biggest market in the world, dwarfs equities. So that market is not showing me a clue, although the British came off yesterday pretty decently. And the yen is back at 144, sort of a no trade. But just in general, putting the puzzle pieces together, that doesn't add up to where we are. And certainly the 10-year being at what, 445 doesn't add up as well. High yields in general. So those two clues don't add up. Then you would think if you have a thriving market, you would have a thriving economy, and oil would be doing better. And oil is just chopping around the $60 level, not doing much. And then gold is like a mania. I mean, it's literally been 2 full years of a mania. And when I say mania, I mean, it goes up. Why are you shaking your head? It's a
Yeah,
mania. It
I
doesn't
mean,
move. It
it
doesn't
was
move up any.
oscillating. It was oscillating at 2,000 for like since COVID, and then it just recently had a breakout above 2,000. It goes to 3,500. I don't think it's a mania. There have been times in history where you look back at gold over
Well,
a
gold's been in
trailing 10-year
history for
period, it's up
freaking ever.
600%.
Dude,
This is just,
gold, time out. Gold's been in history longer than the S&P. Okay, the S&P came out at $30. Okay, that's trading 6,000. Okay, this thing never went up ever. Okay, and the funny thing is, last year I believe, okay, or I think it was last year because I was trading it, it was under 2,000, or right in that area. So the bottom line is, this is all, when you say it's not a mania, the thing is up 60, 70% in the last 2.5 years. Okay, take those 2.5 years, it puts us back to 1,800. Equate that to the S&P. I mean, this thing is so underperformed for years and years and years, and in my mind, will continue to underperform forever. Okay, I'm not saying you can't get windows in time like this where you're getting 50, 60, but you got to remember, this is an asset class that costs you money to hold. Okay. Right now, I can buy a government bond or a muni and get 5%, sit in my underwear by my pool. Okay. I buy gold. I got to pay to store it. I don't even know how I'm moving it. I was watching this show. They actually, it's crazy. On a lot of these jetliners, they're moving gold bricks under the plane, like massive amounts of size. So you could be on a plane coming from Europe and it has massive millions and millions and millions of dollars in
like a
gold.
portable Fort
Right. But they
Knox.
got to pay for that. So I don't know how this is such a, good asset class. It doesn't pay you interest. Okay. The beauty is, what's your money doubling in 10 years or whatever at 5%? This isn't doubling. So I don't love it. I like it as a rent a trade. I think gold is a great rent a trade. But the reason that I think gold is very interesting to me is, like S&P, I can kind of look at the landscape. I'm looking at Europe, I'm looking at Asia, I'm looking at the dollar, I'm looking at all the things that go around to run those markets, the equity markets. And sometimes I used to always have the clue. Now it's a little bit more difficult because they throw tricks in. But gold makes no sense to me. None. Zero. Bonds could
Well, how
be
does
up,
it not
gold's
make
up.
sense?
Bonds could be down, gold's up. Bonds could be up, gold's down. The dollar could be strong, gold's down or up. I don't know. Like, what are you looking at to buy it? Like, usually as
I'm
a
not.
trader,
I used to. Well, Okay, so I'll tell you what I used to look at gold, but first, you mentioned like you see a lot of dislocation in a lot of these macro markets, the dollar, rates, gold, and that yet the stock market is up. That kind of thing
Stock
happens a
market
lot.
is flat. Stock market is flat. The
Stock
S&P is
market
up
is
50,
okay.
50 basis points. The Nasdaq's down and the Dow's down. The market is utterly flat for the year. Okay, after going down 30% from the high. I've never seen that. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never seen a market drop 40, 30, 40, 35% NASDAQ, 32, and then rally back to unchanged all in a month. So, everything has changed in the sense that this is warp speed. People can't handle, not big movement. Listen, there's something called zero DTEs, which we have a product that trades the zero DTEs, which are zero data option expiration. It's the biggest product in the market. So people are betting or taking risk on the market on a day over day basis. This used to only happen once a month. There was one Friday, third Friday of every month, options expired. Now they expire an index every day. So every day we must move because people have on positions, and there's something called gamma, okay, which is the change of delta in the option that makes people have to cover as the market's going crazy. So yesterday we were short a call spread. It went in the money. We have to make moves, or we try to make moves to hedge that risk. People are using futures to do that, other options. So really what's happening is they've turned the market a little bit into a casino. Okay? So like right now the S&P was up 10, it's now up 4. It's a flattish opening, but it won't be flat. And where's the straddle today? It's probably in the low 30s.
I
Okay.
bet you it's exactly what it was yesterday. Plus, you have Nvidia earnings after the bell, so the market went up a lot yesterday. I don't think
It's
it's going to
much
do much.
lower. It's actually much lower than yesterday. It's only
Wow.
20, it's not even $30. So the point is, like yesterday that was 35 and it was a loser. Okay. And today it's 29 and it
It's
may be a
probably going
winner.
to be a winner.
Maybe, maybe. But what I'm saying is people are putting what you call book or making markets on that all day, and that's what causes these crazy moves. Like if they didn't have zero DTE, yesterday's move probably would have been 70 S&P points. But at the end of the day, they know where everyone's strike is, they know where the open interest is, and they push the market. So I mean, this is a very much day trading market is flat on the year. Story has not been told. um
It's
Again,
interesting you mentioned, you're kind of differentiating between day trading. I think in everything you're saying today, you're differentiating between day trading and taking positions in the market. And for me personally, taking positions this year has been a loser because of the headline driven market. On the other hand, the day trading side has been a net winner. So it's been much easier to react to these events rather than anticipate them.
you know what, maybe day trading is better. I don't really know. I mean, listen,
So far this year,
I,
that could change.
day trading hasn't been good to me. So I don't know what you're doing, but day trading, I have a product which we trade S&P put and call spreads, S&P Trader LSP code. That's been my best product that I've ever had in my trading career. I've probably
Right.
made hundreds of millions of dollars trading it, and it's down on the year. So and it's down near the lows for the year for me, which is not good. So to me, that tells me day trading is not good. You know,
But how do
it's
you execute? Like what time? I think what you do usually, if I'm not mistaken, is pretty much a few minutes after the bell, you're putting one of those on, right?
I would say within the first 10 minutes of trading, because that's when premiums are the highest. And, we pick the direction in reverse of what we think the market's going to do for the day. And those trades have not, I mean, listen, it's been a weird year. We started choppy, then we went on an unbelievable run, and now we're on a negative run. But I
I
don't
had a
feel like
losing call spread yesterday too. We had the same call spread, 5,900 SPX. You know,
that.
the
Well, that
consumer
in itself, timeout. That in itself is a disaster. Okay, if we had the same spread, that's bad. Okay, that means we're definitely going to lose, which is what happened. But that's not
oh, come
even.
on. We've been on the, usually when we're on the same side of the trade, it actually works. I'm keeping count. I'm
I
keeping count.
don't know about that. I don't know
I'm
about
keeping count. But
that.
my point is this. My point is this. The reason I put it on early, and I also put it on early, I usually don't put it on early. I like to put them on when I don't have a specific time of day, and I wait until the market gets close to a one sigma move in either direction, then I put one of those on. But yesterday the market was already
What do you
up
mean?
about
We had a 2 sigma move when you put that
right,
on.
right. So it was already overextended. And I'm thinking, so usually I would wait until the number comes out at 10, the consumer confidence. This time I didn't do it because I felt it's already overextended. The writing is on the wall. We're either going to stay there or drop a little. And then consumer confidence comes out and the market legs up again. It's a matter of, I think, just kind of waiting for the news event to pass by
I
and
think
then kind of put
honestly,
it on.
I mean, that's so Monday morning quarterback. Obviously, after yesterday, it would have been smart to wait. We
Yeah.
actually made the mistake of selling it into a downtick. We didn't suffer a max loss, but it was a losing trade. And we were okay until the very end of the day. And then they ran the market a little bit on the close. But, I don't really want to spend too much time on that. We'll be back at it again this morning with that product. And, again, I'm pretty confident that that product will be up pretty big on the year like it always is. It's been a bit of a struggle. Again, I want people out there that are watching us, since we're not up money in this product, you want to trade smaller, trade your smallest size and grind back. That's the smartest thing to do here. So that's what I recommend. And we'll be back at it this morning. But let's talk a little bit of the reason why I think we have nothing going on today is everybody's waiting for Nvidia's earnings, which are going to be either amazing or good, and then he's going to say everything is amazing. And I'm sure, the market doesn't really have a lot to go on the upside because it's such a highly mega cap stock. But what do you think potentially will happen? And can you pull the straddle up in Nvidia? Take a look at the straddle, which is pricing the inherent move on the stock for the day. Put up the 135 straddle for today. 135 straddle for today.
Well,
Not for today, for Friday.
Yeah, 9.4.
So basically, it's pricing in less than a 10% move in the stock, which is really weird. I think that's pretty low, right?
6.9%.
A 7% straddle. You like selling that? Huh?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, it's a 7% straddle, 6.9% straddle. That's really low. I think that we could go back in history and look at Nvidia straddles, and I don't think we've ever seen a 6% straddle. That's
So
that's
Nvidia is
really
interesting.
low.
Back in 2023, early part of 2023, coming out of the 22 bear market, AI started to become a household name in the early part of 2023.
Oh, you're gonna get me. You're gonna get me crazy.
Hold
What is
on,
AI?
hold on.
AI, baby. AI. AI.
AI.
Everything's AI. AI. Thank God they've quieted that down for the last 3 or 4 months.
It's
Thank
going to
God.
come back, actually. The people are going to start talking. But anyway, so
What are they going to talk
23, every
about?
earnings
What are they
report,
going to
NVIDIA,
hold on? Time out before you get to Nvidia. I want to know what they're going to talk about. The AI robot I'm going to have in my house, my
the
flying,
robot,
my flying car, my
the
car that's
robot,
going to drive itself. What is it? What's the AI?
AI
Or is
agents, the
AI just? Hang
robots.
on. Is AI just Google? My AI is Google generating AI. I go, what's the weather going to be like today? And then they tell me that's AI, baby. Okay. I know. I'm paying tons of money for AI. So stop with the AI.
I'll
Just
tell you
get to
this.
the point.
I shouldn't
Get to
even
the
say it,
point.
but if ChatGPT would charge me 10 times more what they charge me now, I would pay for it.
Well, you might be the only one. I got the kid behind me, touchdown T. We were looking at stuff on about rules and regulations of different things that had to do with securities law, and the thing was it was wrong about every. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah,
It was
sometimes
wrong. But
it's a little wrong.
I will tell you what was right. Google. Google AI is, in my mind, number one. And I don't know why I call it
Great that
AI.
you say that.
It's
That's
like
great that you
just
say that.
Google something. ChatGPT is horrendous, dude. I don't know. I would not rely on
Yeah,
that.
I also don't understand why the market has completely discounted Google in this AI race. If you saw that the recent event on Gemini a week and a half ago, I think I mentioned it on this pod. It was impressive. It
Yeah,
was
but
very
maybe AI isn't what you think it is, which is why I don't understand. How are they generating billions and trillions of dollars from AI? I just don't see it. So maybe Google AI is amazing, but how are they going to make fortunes of money? So that's the question. But we're off a little bit. Let's talk
so
about
back to
what you think
Nvidia.
for
So
Nvidia.
back to Nvidia. Back in 23, every time it had an earnings report, it would carry the market the next day big, you know. Um, then middle 2024, that relationship started to wane. You would have, I think you had like three back to back reports where Nvidia comes out. Let's say Nvidia is up, the market would actually go down the next day, or vice versa. So I think Nvidia's impact on the market has, with stealth, become much less of a thing. I don't think it impacts the market the way that it used to do back in 23. So I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I
everybody's
think
hyper focused on this earnings report. You
I don't
know,
know
and just,
why. I don't know why, because we just priced the straddle and it's 6%, 6.9%. That's got to be the lowest straddle in years and years and years for Nvidia coming into earnings, or very close to that. So pretty much everything is priced in. I would say.
are you
And
making a play on Nvidia
no,
for your
I am
clients?
no, definitely not. I don't see a play. Most of my products are long option only products, and to play earnings is a little bit difficult. And in this case, by
Yeah,
it being so low, I just can't believe it. Think about it. The stock was below 115 a couple of weeks ago. It's
yeah.
pricing in, it won't even get to 125. So, you know, I don't know. It's it's an interesting play, but it looks like a no play here. Let's just cover a little bit. So we went over the straddle today. We went over what we think in Nvidia. We showed you the straddle, the pricing, what the professional players are thinking in the market. Let's just touch on some of the global macro, which is where we get our ideas mostly from. And bonds are basically slightly flat, 446 ish yield. Um, Again, actually, we're about 446.1. I think we go to 450 minimally here, maybe today or tomorrow. And then I think the next test is the 460 area. Somehow, even if we get to 460, the market will be here rather than 200 S&P points lower, which I still don't get. So there must be stuff in the market that, we're not seeing that are making people more, comfortable. And volatility is very,
They're
very
very
low.
comfortable. They're too comfortable.
Everybody is relaxed. But again, the clues are not showing that we should hold here. But again, you got to respect the price, and the market seems like it wants to go up from here. So I don't know if we're going to see a 6,000 print or we're going to fail back in here. But we think these are high levels for the year. Again, I don't want to sort of beat a dead horse, but like, where are all the trade deals? Where are all the trade talks? Like, you would think you'd see something. There's zero, zero.
You know what thought I just had? I just thought, okay,
Uh-oh.
let's say, oh, I know it's scary, but all these deadlines are coming up. If Trump wants to, he could extend it for another 90 days and then another 90 days, right?
Yeah, but why is that bullish? Why is, listen, I'm stating it right here on this podcast. He's afraid to put tariffs in. It's the taco trade. He's chicken. He's a chicken to put tariffs in. Because if he wasn't, they'd be in. Like, what's the difference right now if we tariff the EU 50%? They'll be coming cowering to our door potentially. Either we'll be cowering or they'll be cowering. Someone will be, because you can't hold up at that. So the bottom line is, doesn't he want to see what's going to happen? Of course not, because it's going to affect us more than it's going to affect them. That is true fact, okay? And that's where this whole thing goes awry. And that's why people are not running to the United States to do trade deals. Where's China? It's week number 4. This is 4 weeks. Where are they? Nowhere, Eric. There's nowhere. Nowhere. They throw out like a blanket statement. Oh, yeah, they're not even talking. There's nothing to talk about. So my question is, why did he come off the 145 tariff? Why? You know why? Because the bottom line is our country couldn't stand it. We're bringing in all our U.S.
They
made
sweet talked
products.
him. They sweet talked him in Argentina, not in
Who?
Argentina, in Switzerland.
In, who's sweet talking?
Uh, the Chinese camp.
Oh, okay. You think the Chinese broke down? Okay.
No, I don't think they broke down. I think they just sweet talked him into extending this thing out, and let's, like
Why?
every other country, EU as well. Let's,
Dude,
you
can I
know,
ask you something? They're facing 55% tariffs. That's unsustainable. Unsustainable. Okay? You can't sell goods with a 55% tariff.
yeah,
Okay?
for them it's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. So the bottom line is, whether it's
For them,
145 or
I know you
55,
think
it's
for
in.
us, but I think for them.
Okay, whatever. I hear you, dude. I don't see it. Okay, they don't need us, dude. They're a communist country. If they
We're
need
their,
more money, they
aren't we
just,
their biggest source of revenue for their exports?
yeah. But they're shifting that, and they've been shifting that for 5 years. That's why this isn't that impactful to them, or
Who,
as it would have been
who
5
else
years
are they
ago.
going to sell their?
Everyone, all of Asia, every country in Asia. Okay, every country. Okay, who are we selling to? Who are we selling to? Honestly, who are we selling to? What are we? Better question. What are we selling, and who are we selling to?
Okay. So we have
Iron ore
from
or some crazy thing you're going to
we
tell me.
have a lot of energy resources, especially I think the liquefied natural gas industry needs to benefit from all these trade deals. I think energy needs to benefit. We need to be
But
able to
why do we have
export.
to set up
If
trade
I'm
deals?
Trump, if I'm Trump, one of the biggest things that I would put as a stipulation for China is you better be importing our LNG and energy resources. Why should they be buying from Iran? Why? Why they should be
Why not?
buying
They're buying
from
it
us,
cheaper, and it's closer.
right? Okay.
And and our natural gas and our crude oil is not set up to really, like Henry Hub
Yeah, but
oil.
LNG is
I
Japan
don't.
imports a lot of
There's
our
so
LNG.
much natural gas in this world that's why it's $3. Okay,
Not
because
over there.
it. I understand, but over here, okay,
Even
so
even Europe. Europe. Remember when Russia had the stranglehold on Europe? And what did they do? They cut off their gas. You think if Europe was producing its own natural gas, I mean, the price of LNG went up through the roof during that time. And they're trying to figure out a way how to import more of our LNG. This is what they should do. Also, we have pharmaceuticals. We have more tech to sell. We have a lot of stuff to sell. It's not just plastic goods and you know the crap that people probably don't need that much of.
I don't know. I mean, we'll keep an eye on all that. I don't think forcing people to buy your products by putting tariffs on makes sense. You mentioned the man Ronald Reagan. He was fully against tariffs. Okay, what is good about tariffs? I really, we can argue all day. You're
It
saying
was a different world back then. Back then, in the early '80s, we were still uh, manufacturing our own stuff for the
no,
most part.
China was making, what were we manufacturing? Automobiles.
Early '80s, we were still, yeah, we were the
No one
manufacturing
was
industry
buying
here
our
was still
product.
intact.
No one in 1980 was buying our products. I'm just telling you. Our
Yeah, the
products.
Japanese started to do it better, right? I remember all the Tom Selleck
Dude,
movies.
listen, I'm not gonna listen. We're getting late in the podcast. We're off like the market, which is okay. Sometimes we can do this. But I was in Japan. They're levels more advanced than us as a society. Levels more advanced.
Yeah, I don't understand the
It was
infrastructure problems we
utterly, dude, it was utterly eye opening. I'm just telling you, utterly eye opening. Okay. You live in New York. When you go down into a subway, what does it look like? What does a subway look like? Honestly, it's disgusting, right? And there's a chance you can get pushed on the track, right? You go to Japan, when the train comes in, when it comes in, this beautiful glass gate goes down, okay, and everyone boards the train. When the train's not there, there is a full glass partition between you and the track. How hard is that for us to do? That's just one little thing. I mean, there's a million things like that.
Yeah,
So
a million
I just
things because we have a very thick layer of bureaucracy here. I think California.
whatever, but we're not. I'm just telling you is what I saw. We're not that advanced like we think we are, but we're not. That
We
culture is,
could be, but
but we're not.
we're
They
not.
have a train. They have a bullet train. I've never seen. Literally, it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Beautiful, not a stitch of garbage, clean as a whistle, no graffiti. Okay, and the thing goes
yeah.
250 miles an hour. 250. It is the fastest thing you've ever seen. We can't get anything going. So, yes, we are the greatest country in the world. We are the freest country in the world. And let's keep it that way. Why do we need to bother tariffing these people? I'm just not understanding. To make them buy our stuff? I mean, it's insane. But anyway,
Okay.
on a
Can
market,
they? Can
we
the
got to
rest of the
close
world
up.
lower their tariffs on us too?
Eric, you're not getting it. They're not buying our stuff. I keep telling you this, and you don't realize it. And all you come back to is
But there's a
liquid
lot of
natural
stuff that
gas.
they are buying, and they're not buying our stuff also because they have protectionist policies in place which prevent U.S. companies from competing in a
Eric,
fair way.
where it's a different culture. Okay, it's a different society. They everything is smaller there, more efficient, more compact. Our country is very different, and I love our country, and it's amazing. I'm just trying to tell you to force somebody to buy your products because you're tariffing them. it makes no sense. They're not buying our products. I'm just telling you, they're not buying our products. Okay. Yeah, they'll say they're buying it, just like they were buying soybeans 5 years ago and they didn't buy one. They didn't buy anything. So the tariff thing will continue on. I want to wrap up today. Markets are going to be very quiet. Straddle is $29, very cheap. Not a lot of movement. Everyone's waiting for Nvidia, but it's interesting that they're waiting for Nvidia because it's only pricing in a 7% move, which is very, very small, okay, on a $130 stock.
The
So
market is funny.
the market is, keep an eye on bonds. They're backing up slightly. Keep an eye on the 450 area. Really, there's not anything. I mean, even look at Bitcoin. The thing doesn't really move. I mean, it used to move like a rocket ship every single day, and it doesn't really move. It's down like 1%. It's become like
Well,
an
it just moved. It just moved a lot.
it moved down a lot and then right back up. Same thing, dude. You know what's funny? You just proved the point. You said this is not correlated to equities, and if you overlay tomorrow morning, Thomas, write this down. We're overlaying Bitcoin to equities. It is the same exact move. Same exact move. Same move down. Same move up.
My view on
The bottom
Bitcoin,
line is-
I share.
but
I
here's
shared
the
with
one
you my
thing.
view on.
Here's the one thing that I don't understand. Okay. Who is selling Bitcoin? Like today,
No,
GM GameStop said they bought $500 million of Bitcoin. The other day, someone
I see.
bought $1 billion. Who's selling all this?
Can we
That's what
buy
I
a
want to
billion,
know.
Larry? When are we going to buy a billion Bitcoin? When?
When you get your hedge fund going and you buy Bitcoin, because I'm not. Anyway, we covered
Long
everything
Bitcoin,
today.
short Ludwig CP.
Dude, you called me last night on it. It's a $400 billion company. It's not. It's 400 million. It's not even a
But
billion
notice
dollar.
what's happening. MSTR was down a lot yesterday. Bitcoin's not moving. There's a lot of hype out there. If you want to short, you can short
No,
like
Bitcoin
CP, but
MSTR
stay
was
long
up.
Bitcoin.
No. MSTR was. I actually have a position shorted. It was actually up yesterday, small, and the day before it got tanked. Okay. It's down 5 today. I expect it to go lower. We're short that. That's one of our short positions. I do not like that name. I think it's completely overvalued versus the
You want to
price of
sprinkle a
Bitcoin.
little Bitcoin on top of that trade?
Nope. I'm in that name because I'm short a product that is a double leveraged ETF, and these double leveraged ETFs are kind of set up to fail. But anyway, we're way close to the opening. We're running late. It was a pleasure today. Should be a quiet day. S&P are leaking a little bit lower. Keep an eye on the bond market. Very important levels, 450, 460. And we'll be back to everyone tomorrow. Peace.
Take care. Bye.